When you picture a family from the 1960s, do you immediately think of a mom, a dad, and a couple of kids living in a suburban house, perhaps watching a black and white television together? This image is so deeply ingrained in our collective memory, but was it truly the universal reality for everyone during that transformative decade? The nuclear family, typically defined as a married couple and their children, was indeed highly prevalent and largely considered the dominant ideal in the 1960s. In fact, by 1960, around 70% of American households consisted of a married couple with children under 18. This structure represented a significant social expectation and cultural norm for many during that era. This widespread prevalence stemmed from several powerful societal forces following World War II. The post-war economic boom allowed more families to afford single-family homes, often in newly developing suburbs. Cultural messaging, heavily reinforced by popular media like television shows, constantly showcased this family model as the aspirational standard. Stable employment for men in manufacturing or office jobs often supported a single-income household, making the division of labor with a stay-at-home mother both economically feasible and culturally celebrated. However, it is important to remember that this ideal often excluded or was unattainable for many minority families and those in lower economic strata. Understanding the era's focus on the nuclear family helps us appreciate the scale of the societal changes that began to emerge later in the decade. While the nuclear family was the perceived norm, not every household fit this mold perfectly, and the foundations of its dominance began to gently crack towards the late 1960s. Divorce rates, though still much lower than today, saw a slight uptick, and countercultural movements began to question traditional family structures and gender roles. One fascinating insight is the concept of the breadwinner homemaker model, which was not just an ideal but also underpinned economic policies and housing developments of the time. This model encouraged suburban expansion and consumption patterns, solidifying the nuclear family unit as a key economic driver. It created a specific expectation for family life that had significant implications for both men and women, defining their roles and responsibilities within the household and society at large. Ultimately, the nuclear family of the 1960s shaped an entire generation, providing a sense of stability and a clear social blueprint for many. Recognizing its strong presence helps us understand the context from which later movements for women's liberation and civil rights gained their momentum, challenging the very structures that had been so deeply established.